Here is the merged version as one continuous epic poem, with love woven into the journey rather than added as a separate section. There was a morning before memory, when the world stood unopened, its mountains folded like unwritten letters, its oceans breathing beneath their own names, and somewhere beyond the first bird's cry, a path waited, not paved with certainty, but with questions bright as dew. Life did not ask us to be fearless. It asked only that we arrive with empty hands, with impossible hopes, with hearts still capable of mistaking starlight for a destination. So we began. At first, the road was gentle, a ribbon through green fields, where every breeze carried the rumor that joy was simple, that forever could be gathered like wildflowers in a child's fist. The rivers applauded our laughter. The trees leaned close enough to overhear our dreams. Even the rain seemed kind, falling not to burden us, but to teach the earth how to bloom. Then came distance. The map dissolved. The familiar stars wandered. Mountains rose where none had been promised, their silent faces asking a toll paid not in gold, but in courage. So we climbed. Not because the summit was guaranteed, nor because anyone watched, but because something ancient within the soul recognizes ascent, even when the body trembles. Many turned back. Many rested forever in comfortable valleys where nothing was demanded and nothing extraordinary was found. But still the road whispered, "Come. There are lessons only storms are fluent enough to teach." A tree with shallow roots celebrates only sunny weather. The oak, scarred by impossible winters, learns to greet lightning without surrendering the sky. So too the traveler. There comes an evening when every compass fails, when hope becomes less a feeling than a discipline, when faith is no grand cathedral, but one more footstep taken through darkness, because dawn has always existed even when hidden. How strange that our greatest victories rarely announce themselves. They arrive quietly. The forgiveness we thought impossible, the burden finally set down. The morning we awaken and discover that grief, once an ocean, has become a river we know how to cross. And somewhere along that endless road, when we had nearly forgotten that the heart itself was a compass, love appeared. Not always as thunder, not always as a grand arrival beneath a sky of fireworks. Sometimes love came quietly, as a hand reaching back when we were tired, as a voice saying, "I see you," when the world had looked away. Sometimes love wore ordinary clothes. It sat beside us on a worn chair. It shared a meal. It remembered the smallest details that everyone else forgot. It lived in conversations that stretched beyond midnight, in laughter that made time disappear, in peaceful silence where two souls no longer needed words to prove they belonged. For love is not merely the meeting of two hearts. It is the awakening of a heart that had forgotten how vast it could become. Through love, the world becomes more detailed. The sunset becomes more golden because someone is watching it with us. The music becomes more beautiful because someone understands why it moves us. The wilderness becomes less frightening because another light burns nearby. Love teaches us that another person's joy can become our celebration, that another person's sorrow can become the place where compassion learns to stand. And yes, love sometimes wounds. The deepest gardens are not grown without rain. There are names we carry like hidden songs, faces that visit us in quiet moments, chapters that ended before we were ready to close the book. But even these loves were not failures. Nothing that teaches the soul how to open is ever truly lost. A flower does not regret blooming because winter eventually comes. A candle does not regret shining because dawn arrives. And a heart does not regret loving because love itself was the miracle. For every person we have loved has left something behind. A new language of tenderness, a wider understanding of beauty, a reminder that beneath all our differences, we are travelers searching for the same warm fire. The world calls monuments magnificent. Yet what monument outshines the human heart that chooses kindness after betrayal? What cathedral is holier than the soul that still believes in love after it has broken? What empire is richer than the person who has learned that enough is abundance? Years gather, the swift become patient, the restless become attentive. We discover that wisdom does not descend like lightning. It accumulates like moss upon stone, like rings within cedar, like moonlight returning to the same quiet lake night after faithful night. The ambitions that once roared grow clear. We no longer wish to own the horizon. We wish to witness it, to sit beside someone beloved while evening gathers gold into the folds of distant hills, to hear laughter through an open window, to leave a garden healthier than we found it, to become, without noticing, the shelter we once searched for. Then comes the astonishing revelation. The destination was never a place. It was the gradual making of a soul. Every wrong turn taught direction. Every farewell deepened gratitude. Every unanswered prayer opened a gate that certainty would have walked past. Even regret, that stern old teacher, placed unexpected lanterns along forgotten roads. Nothing beautiful was ever entirely wasted. The stars know this. They burn for ages, only to arrive as light in another century's eyes. The sea knows this. Each wave dies without complaint, trusting another will complete the conversation. The forest knows this. Leaves surrender every autumn, not because life has failed, but because spring is already hidden inside the roots. And perhaps the human spirit belongs to that same quiet covenant, to lose, to love, to forerise, to wonder, to forgive, to become. Walk, notice, give more than fear advises, receive more than pride permits, leave every heart a little warmer than when you entered it. Stand often beneath the night until the stars remind you how magnificent it is, that such a brief life can contain such infinite longing. For we are not measured by the miles we conquer, nor by the crowns we gather, nor by applause that fades before morning. We are measured by the light we carry through another person's darkness, by the courage to keep opening doors after disappointment, by the tenderness that survives experience, by the hope that outlives explanation. And when at last the final bend appears, when the pack grows light and the road begins to shine with the strange familiarity of home, may we look behind us without bitterness. May we see not a perfect journey, but a radiant one. A trail of forgiven mistakes, impossible dawns, unexpected friendships, shared bread, wet boots, open skies, broken hearts that somehow learned to sing. May the mountains remember our footsteps kindly. May the rivers carry fragments of our laughter to travelers yet unborn. May every seed we planted unknowingly become forests beneath another generation's sun. And may the wind, passing over every place our spirit ever dared to love, whisper the oldest blessing the universe has ever spoken. Go on. There are still wonders ahead. For life's greatest adventure was never finding the end of the road. It was discovering, step by astonished step, that the road, the traveler, the stars above, the hands we held, the tears we shed, the love we gave, and the horizon forever calling, were all, from the very beginning, the same endless miracle, learning its own beautiful name.